When Cherry Blossoms Whisper. Volume 3, Autumn's Unspoken Truth. Chapter 8. Cultural Festival Tears. The school buzzed with excitement as the cultural festival drew near. Everywhere Haruto looked, he saw students practicing, preparing booths, and putting final touches on their exhibits. It was a welcome distraction from the growing tension that had lingered over him and Sakura in recent weeks. Their conversations had been growing more serious, and Haruto couldn't ignore the deepening feelings he had for her. Yet there was still a barrier between them. Sakura's constant struggle to stay composed, her perfectionist nature, her stoic demeanor, still kept Haruto at arm's length. He wanted to reach her, to understand her better, but every time they got close, she pulled away. The cultural festival, a time for celebration and light-hearted fun, seemed like the perfect opportunity to break through that barrier. "Are you nervous about the contest?" Kaido asked, leaning against the wall next to Haruto, who was absent-mindedly tracing patterns in the air with his finger. The school's art contest was just one of many events during the festival, but it felt significant to both him and Sakura. They'd decided to work together for the competition, art and poetry combined. "Not nervous," Haruto replied, glancing at the poster for the contest. "Just a bit unsure. I know we've been working hard, but I feel like there's a lot riding on this." "Yeah, I get it," Kaido said with a grin. "But come on, you've got this. Just relax. If anything, it's all about enjoying the process." Haruto managed a faint smile. He appreciated Kaido's optimism, even though it didn't fully lift the weight on his shoulders. As the festival day arrived, the school was alive with energy. Haruto and Sakura had set up their exhibit in the main hall, a blend of Sakura's poignant poetry and Haruto's abstract art. The pieces were meant to complement each other, a visual reflection of the words, and vice versa. They had worked tirelessly, but something felt off in the air between them. As much as they'd grown closer, the unspoken tension between them remained. The opening ceremony had ended and now the contest was about to begin. Haruto stood in front of their display, adjusting a few frames nervously. Sakura, as usual, was quiet, her gaze fixed on the floor as she fiddled with her hands. She looked beautiful, her expression intense as she concentrated on the small details, but Haruto could tell she was lost in her own thoughts. "Hey," Haruto said softly, his voice barely audible amidst the noise of the festival. "It'll be fine, right?" Sakura looked up at him, her eyes unreadable. "It should be. We've done our best." There was a moment of silence before she spoke again, her voice shaky. "Haruto, do you ever feel like no matter how hard you try, it's never enough?" The words were simple, but they cut through Haruto like a knife. He turned to look at her, finding her face filled with a quiet sadness he hadn't noticed before. He stepped closer, his gaze softening. "Sakura, you've given everything to this. And you've made something beautiful. It's more than enough." Sakura bit her lip, her eyes flickering with the uncertainty she rarely let show. "I just don't want to disappoint anyone. Not you, not my mom, not myself." Before Haruto could respond, there was a sudden commotion at the far end of the room. He turned only to see Akira approaching their booth, a mischievous glint in his eye. Well, Akira said with a smirk, eyeing the art display with an exaggerated appraisal. "I have to say, I'm surprised. You two make a pretty good team. Too bad it won't be enough to win." Haruto's hand clenched into a fist, but he forced himself to remain calm. Akira was always trying to provoke him, to get under his skin. But this time he wasn't going to let it happen. "What are you doing here, Akira?" Haruto asked, his voice steady despite the irritation bubbling inside. "I'm just here to admire your work. You know, art and poetry, it's a nice little combination," Akira replied, but there was a sharpness in his tone now. "But it's all just a bunch of pretty words and pictures. The real question is, can you handle the pressure when it really matters?" Sakura stiffened beside Haruto, clearly uncomfortable with Akira's presence. Haruto could see the subtle way her shoulders tightened, a sign that the insults were getting to her more than she let on. "Akira, please leave," Sakura said, her voice barely above a whisper. "We're not interested in your opinion." Akira tilted his head, clearly enjoying the reaction he was provoking. "Not interested? I think you are. Maybe you just don't want to admit it." He leaned in a little closer, his eyes now locking onto Sakura's with a challenging glint. "You're not as perfect as you think you are, Sakura. Everyone has their flaws." Haruto stepped forward, instinctively placing himself between Akira and Sakura, his body rigid with anger. "Enough, Akira. Don't push her. You're not getting under her skin." But Akira only smiled wider. Am I not? Or maybe you're just trying to protect her from the truth. Before Haruto could respond, there was a sudden shift in the atmosphere. Sakura, her eyes now brimming with tears, stepped forward, breaking the tense moment. Akira, just go, she said, her voice shaking. You don't know anything. Haruto's heart clenched as he saw the tears beginning to fall from Sakura's eyes. Her composure, the mask she wore so carefully, was starting to crack. It was clear that Akira's words had hit a nerve. Akira's smirk faded, and for the first time, he looked almost guilty. He stood still for a moment before turning and walking away without another word. Sakura stood there, her face pale as she wiped her tears away hastily. Haruto stood by her side, unsure of what to do or say. He felt an overwhelming urge to comfort her, but the tension in the air was thick. I'm sorry, Sakura whispered, her voice trembling. I didn't want you to see me like this. Haruto placed a hand on her shoulder, his touch warm and reassuring. Sakura, you don't have to apologize. You don't have to be perfect all the time. Sakura's eyes met his, and for a brief moment, Haruto saw the vulnerability she had been hiding. The weight of her emotions seemed to be overwhelming her, and Haruto could feel it, too. They had been through so much together, but this was different. The pressure, the expectations, the fear of letting everyone down. It was all too much. And yet, in that moment, Haruto realized something. He didn't have all the answers, but he was here for her no matter what. The rest of the festival passed by in a blur. Their joint exhibit had won first place, but neither of them seemed to care about the trophy. Sakura had pulled herself together, though her quiet sobs lingered in Haruto's mind. He knew there was more to her pain than what she had revealed, but he also knew that, little by little, they would get there. Together. As the festival ended, Haruto walked Sakura to the gates, both of them lost in their thoughts. The night air was cool and the stars twinkled above them. The silence between them wasn't uncomfortable, it was an understanding, a shared moment of emotional release. Sakura looked at him, her voice soft but steady. Thank you, Haruto. For being here. For not giving up on me. Haruto smiled, his heart full as he met her gaze. I'll never give up on you, Sakura. Not now, not ever. Thanks for watching our video. If you find this video interesting, then please subscribe our YouTube channel. If you're watching this video from TikTok, Facebook, or Instagram, then follow our page for more contents like this.